Welcome into sportsbookreview.com. I'm Chris.
I'm Sam.
And this is the college football opening line show for week number 1. We actually have an official week of football under the belt. A couple of teams played. Games mattered. They went into the record books. Some guys were happy. Some guys were upset. And we had a good time. But we are getting into the nuts and bolts, the full slate of games this coming Saturday. We got games going Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. College football is taking over your television this weekend alone. And we're going to be carrying it for the rest of the season. Now, here's how we do this thing. The first thing we do, we got to like the video. If you're here, thank you for joining us. Man, we appreciate it. We love what we're doing. Go to sportsbookreview.com. Find all of your gambling information. You're going to have articles on all of these games. You're going to have information on players. You're going to have information on weather. If you want to know what book has the best line, you just go to odds. You got a nice, beautiful spreadsheet right there with every sports book that Sportsbook Review caters to and all of their current lines. So you don't have to bounce around from website to website. We handle all that for you. We're glad you're here. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's not just us at the College Football Show. You're going to get the NFL guys. They're going to be bringing it to you all year long. When baseball season is getting into playoff time, you're going to have those guys. Every sport you can think of, SBR is the one-stop shop for it. Sam, let's get into what happened. We're going to give you a short little recap of what happened in Week 0. Every week, Sam, tell me who the biggest winner of Week 0 is.
Well, had some good games, had some fun games, and had some blowouts. I easily could say that one of the big winners of the week was Chip Kelly and UCLA. I mean, really making a statement with their big win over Hawaii. But I think that the real winner of the day has got to be Bret Bielema and the Illinois Fighting Illini. For them to open up at home against a Nebraska team with everything on the line, at least in their minds, and to go in and completely not just outplay, but outcoach Nebraska on every facet of the field, Illinois has got to be my big winner.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. I agree. Chip Kelly, very impressive, but Bret Bielema back in college football, right where he belongs, in the Big Ten. Biggest winner. The biggest loser, it's not close, guys. It's not close. It's Nebraska. It's Scott Frost. They've got issues out the yin-yang. We don't need to spend all day beating them up. We did have one interesting in this game bad beat. Now, It wasn't a bad beat for me. It wasn't a bad beat for you.
Nope.
But it's a bad beat for somebody. Tell me about it, Sam.
So the over-under on this game was 52.5. Nebraska, coming down the stretch, down 2 touchdowns, trying to score, took like 7 minutes or, just had no concern for the clock, just letting that run down, end up scoring a touchdown after a lot of just terrible coaching, terrible play management, terrible clock management. Score, cut it to 8 points. They missed the extra point. That extra point would have flipped it from the under to the over. That missed extra point hit the under for you and me, and everyone who bet the over. Sorry, guys.
I sweated it out the whole time. I thought the safety was going to kill me. I thought, oh, great. 2 points nobody was counting on happening in this game. They missed an extra point the first time they scored a touchdown. Nebraska did, and I thought, all right. I got half my points back from the safety, and sure as hell, they missed another extra point to save me by the hook. It was a good day. It was a good moment for us. Bad moment for Nebraska. Now, normally, this is the opening line show. And in the past, this show has been going through a slate of games and reading off the lines and talking about where they open, where they currently are, and where we think they might go. I want to try something different. I'm not afraid to try something and fail. So if we get into this and we're a couple of weeks in and Sam's a good sport with me and it looks and sounds terrible, we'll quit. We'll move on. If you don't like the game, whatever. But I want to play a game with this thing. No, we're not going to do it this week because we know what these lines are. These lines have been out for a month. Some have been out longer than that. And so there's no secrecy. Basically, what we're going to do, if you've heard some other famous podcasters out in the world, they play this game with the NFL. We're going to do it here. We're going to pick 10 games, maybe 12 games. We'll see what the time crunch looks like because we don't want the video to last all night long. We are going to try and guess the lines. Before they ever come out, I'm going to give a guess. Sammy will give a guess. And then once we have the answers, we will do the video show. And we will record what we guessed, what it really is. We'll see who was closest. But really, it'll give us an opportunity to think, why were we off? Why did I think this line was one thing and the bookmakers think it was another? And I think we can actually have a good conversation about a few games. Now, if you want to know the lines of any games that we don't hit on, that's fine. That's what Sportsbook Review is for. You go to them, you click on odds, you find NCAAF, and all of the games are right there. If we tried to do a video that gave you every game for all 60 to 70 games that are going to be played on a Saturday, everyone would hate our guts. And it just wouldn't be good. So this is what we're going to do. For this week only, unless this game ends up terrible in a couple of weeks, we're going to run through 12 games that you and I, Sam, have found to be the most interesting games of the weekend. Doesn't mean we don't care about the other games. We're leaving Sammy's team completely off of this. And a little penance for him.
Can't believe that. I mean, come on. We'll talk about that in a sec. But
all right. We'll get him in. I want to start Thursday night, Sam. Thursday night football.
Thursday night.
Not the NFL. It's made for college football. We got a big one. Who we got? Tell me about it.
Boise State, a new head coach. They are traveling all the way across the country, heading down to Florida to take on Gus Malzahn and the UCF Knights. Central Florida favored by 5 in this one. But this really is a battle of two of the titans of the group of 5. One of the top schools in the Mountain West, one of the top schools in the American. Should be a lot of fun, especially with the new head coaches. I mean, Gus Malzahn brings a lot of cachet to UCF, in there. I'm very interested to see what his team is going to look like going in. Like I said, Central Florida favored by 5. It seems about right for Boise traveling across the country.
Yeah, I think this line's pretty close to right. It opened at 4. It's moved up to 5 a little bit. That's probably fine considering it's been out as long as it has. I'm very interested in this game. I'm excited about this game. I cannot wait to watch that game. I think we're going to get some points, Sam. Might be wrong. Don't know what UCF team we're going to look like, and I don't really know what Boise's going to look like at all. But I'm excited for it. Next, we're going to the bully of the Big Ten. Your conference, your division. Y'all got a lot of divisional games. You got a lot of conference games going on week 1. Ohio State is going on the road in the Big Ten to play Minnesota. Now, a couple of years ago, Minnesota was a premier team in the Big Ten. People were looking to make a lot of noise. Many of those guys have graduated. Many of those guys have moved on. How good is this Minnesota team? How good is this Ohio State team that's reloading because they don't really rebuild there? Ohio State, this line opened at 14. It is still minus 14. 2-touchdown favorite on the road. What you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Minnesota, they're trying to get over a bad year last year. But the problem with this game is what Minnesota does best is run the ball. They got Mohamed Ibrahim. He's one of the best returning running backs in the Big Ten. That offensive line can run block left, right, and sideways. They're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball well. The weakness in the Ohio State defense, I think, is in the secondary. I think if you're able to throw the ball, if you're able to challenge that secondary deep, I think that's where Ohio State's going to have trouble. So what Minnesota's strength isn't necessarily Ohio State's weakness. So I think, Ohio State has all the talent of the world. Yeah, they have a first-time quarterback, C.J. Stroud getting the nod right off the bat, but their wide receivers are excellent. I'm not in love with Minnesota's defense. 14 points on the road. Ohio State rarely starts the season on the road, so this is definitely interesting, and a lot of eyes are going to be on this game. But 14 points for the Buckeyes. I think that's about right. I could see them winning by more.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see it as well. I do think the number is right. And I'm going to tell you this. I think all these numbers are about as sharp to a point as they're going to be. Okay? The lines have been out for a long time. I'm of the opinion that if every sharp bettor out there has already made all their plays. any action going forward is going to mostly be either the public or sharps getting back in if a line has a lot of drastic movement one way or another. I don't think you're going to find a whole lot of extra edges coming out of these things. These bookmakers have got these numbers to a T. We're going to move to Friday. Now, Friday night, a place that I know and remember as a very difficult place to win a football game is to go into Blacksburg. Blacksburg used to be a scary, scary place for visiting teams. North Carolina coming in with a lot of hope, a lot of hype, a lot of excitement and expectation that they're going to be the team to challenge Clemson, not Miami, but North Carolina. Mac Brown's got this team rolling. They're getting 5-star recruits now. It's something North Carolina hasn't done in a while.
Nope.
And they're supposed to be the heir apparent, the ones that are going to take the mantle from Clemson. But first, they got to start off going on a team that I think Justin Fuente very much on the hot seat in Blacksburg right now. Do you think the fans of Blacksburg are going to come out, show up, make this a very hostile environment for North Carolina, and can the Hokies put up anything, any kind of life here? This game opened at -6 for North Carolina as a favorite. They're at 5.5 now. What do you think?
So the answer to your first question, will the Vatech fans show up and try to make Blacksburg a tough place to play? Yes, I do think that. Do I think Virginia Tech has got what it takes to beat North Carolina? No, I do not.
Okay.
I think 5.5 might even be a little low. I could see North Carolina, if they are as good as they think they are, if they're as good as everyone seems to think they are, they should have no trouble with a Vatech team that really just has underperformed for Justin Fuente his entire time there, which is a bummer because I loved the hire of Justin Fuente by Virginia Tech.
Too.
I thought that was a fantastic hire. I loved what Fuente had been doing before. It hasn't worked. You know, Vatech is not what it was under Frank Beamer. It just, you know, and honestly, I mean, that's just a whole other, how do you follow a legend? I don't know. But, you know, Vatech has been underperforming, and you know, I think North Carolina, they're going to want to come out strong. They're going to want to come out on the road and really make a statement. I think if they want to catch some worry from the folks in Clemson, they're going to need to really put a hurting on Vatech.
I think you're right. I think you're right on that. I'm curious to see that game. We're going to get into Saturday. And one of the most interesting games of the week, you kind of pointed out to me, this is our first opportunity to see this year's kind of national champion hyped Oklahoma team. They are a fancy pick. They are a big-time special pick for a lot of people to win the championship this year, to make it to the playoffs, to finally have the number of be in the same consideration as Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State. Now, normally Oklahoma gets let in and Oklahoma gets the doors blown off of them. That's what has happened. This team is supposed to be different. They get a weird kind of test with an opening up against Tulane. Now, Tulane having to relocate because of storm. Tulane plays a little bit of different ball. Willie Fritz down there, he used to be an option guy, then went to a power spread kind of thing, but still has some flares of options. I wonder, is this going to be any test at all for Oklahoma? Are we going to see a drumming early? This line opened at 21. It is bumped up to 26.5. And, man, I don't know that that's enough if Oklahoma's is as good as everyone thinks they are.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I worry about Tulane. I worry that their heads are just not going to be there. I mean, this storm is happening. We still don't know all the damage that's going to happen. Hitting New Orleans really hard. And, if these kids, if their heads aren't in the game, this could be rough. Could they go into Norman and win? No, I don't think so. Could they go in and make it respectable? Again, I don't think so. But, I think Oklahoma's going to want to start off the year with a statement. And, I think this should be a fairly easy win for them. They're not going to need to open up the playbook too deep. They're not going to need to show their hands. And, I think 26.5 might be a little light, especially if Tulane's heads aren't 100% in the game.
I'm just very curious to see. and this isn't a knock on Tulane at all. I think there's a world where Tulane's a pretty decent football team in the Conference USA conference. I wonder how good this Oklahoma team is, and I wonder will we even know when this game's over with.
I don't think we will.
Are they good or not? So that's that. We're going to get back into the Big Ten.
Oh yeah.
And
I can't believe you skipped my Northwestern Wildcats playing on Friday night against Michigan State. But that's fine. We can talk about my Cats another time.
Listen, Michigan State is not a good football team. Michigan State is not a good football team. Penn State, Wisconsin.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Listen, if we didn't have Clemson, Georgia, which we're going to get to, monster football game this year. I think this is the biggest game of opening weekend. I think these are two massive teams. Could be, if something weird happens at Ohio State or Penn State ever becomes the team that they are, a rematch of, or I guess a game before we get a Big Ten championship game. These are two monster teams. Penn State's going to be going down to Camp Randall. They're going to Madison. Now, I know a couple things about Madison. All right, I love Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a school that I looked at trying to go to when I was younger. I love that their offensive linemen are the biggest stars on the team. I love that place throws down and can party with almost anybody in the country. I mean, it is Wisconsin, it is North Carolina, not North Carolina, West Virginia, and it is Baton Rouge are the three like drinking schools that know how to throw it down. I hope we have beautiful weather. I hope it's an unbelievable day in Madison. I hope the bars are open and lined out. I hope the people of Wisconsin are lubed up for this game because this is the kind of atmosphere that this game demands, that this game should have. This is a 4.5-point line. It opened at 4.5. And my first thought was, I think these two teams are pretty even. I think this should be closer to a pick 'em. And then, Sam, I started thinking about that home field event. Is Camp Randall the very first week that students and fans are all going to be allowed to come back in after not being able to watch last year? All lubed up, all tuned up. Are they worth 4.5 points?
I think they're worth more, honestly.
I think I definitely think they might be worth the 4.
Yeah, Camp Randall, when it's rocking, and it will be for Penn State.
And it will be.
It'll be hopping. I mean, you talked about like jump around going into the fourth quarter, shaking the foundation of that stadium, and that's absolutely going to happen. The place is going to be rocking. The place is going to be rolling. Both Penn State and Wisconsin trying to come back off real disappointing years in 2020.
Right. And they both got a lot of hype this year. They should be a lot better than last year.
They should be. I mean, I love Wisconsin's defense. I think Jim Leonard is going to be a head coach in either college football or the NFL sooner rather than later. I love what he's done with this Badger defense. I don't know if 4.5 is enough. I think Wisconsin's going to win by more than that, personally.
Wow.
But we'll talk about that later in the week. But yeah, this is a huge game, and I am so excited that the Big Ten decided to do conference games leading off the season, and really kind of start off with a bang. It's all conference games, and this is a huge matchup.
I definitely think your conference, outside of the biggest game of the weekend, your conference, the Big Ten, is going to dominate all the storylines from week 1. I believe that. I believe we're going to look back, and that's what we're going to be talking about. One more big-time game in that conference. You've got Indiana. Mm-hmm. They were the golden child of last year. They are
America's team. Indiana
They
Hoosiers.
were America's team. They were the underdog, the little engine that could last year in the Big Ten. And they're going up against an Iowa team that is maybe one of the better Iowa teams that I've seen in the last 5 or 6 years. Kurt Ferentz he's about as steady as they get. They're never going to be real bad. They're rarely going to be 11-1 kind of competing for the Big Ten good. But there's some people that think this is the horse that's going to win the West. And if they're going to be that good, Indiana better be a hell of a football team if they're going to hang. This line opened 6.5 Iowa. It is now sitting at 3 Iowa. Now that opening line, I got no idea what date that came out on. If that was 2 months ago and then we had a spring practice and a fall practice and everyone believes Indiana's really legit, maybe that's where all the action went. I can't speak to it because it's not a 1 week line.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Indiana is, they are the darlings of the country. I mean, last year, they're salty that they didn't go to the Fiesta Bowl last year, and I'm salty that they didn't go to the Fiesta Bowl last year. They absolutely should have. Yeah, for them to go into Kinnick Stadium, which is also a really hard place to go in and play. Talk about college atmosphere and, being able to wave to the kids in the children's hospital after the first quarter. I mean, that's really special. But it's hard to go into Kinnick and win. But if Indiana is as good as they think they are, and I think they are, I love the Hoosier defense. And, I think they're going to be able to slow down Iowa. Not that Iowa needs a lot of slowing down. They're not really known for their deep plays, their quick strikes. But this is going to be a really fun game. And, yeah, that 3 points, I think, is just home field advantage. I think these two teams are really, really evenly matched. And we'll see what healthy Michael Penix brings to the table.
Yeah, we're going to have to find out. We're going to have to see how good Michael really is. We'll get a good barometer for how good this defense is. And yeah, I'm excited. I love that your conference is doing this. I really do. I'm glad my conference is not because I would like a game under my belt. Not that we're getting an easy one. We'll get there. Next game I want to talk about.
Yeah.
This is a team that I hate, Sam. This is a team that has bullied me. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you're just a hater and you're a loser and our team's great. Listen, when you've been bullied by somebody for so long, at some point in time, it's hard to even respect them. Okay? But Alabama Crimson Tide's really good at football.
Yeah, they are.
And nobody's denying that. They get to go to Atlanta, which is Tuscaloosa too, because they play 2-3 games a year there every year. Can Miami – I'm not asking is Miami back.
They're not.
Can Miami hang in this game at all? Or is Alabama just going to do what Alabama does?
Probably the latter, honestly. It's an 18.5 point line, for the Tide. I like what they're doing in Miami.
I do too.
But I don't like it enough to think that they're going to be able to play with Alabama. I mean, Miami, just like North Carolina, have a Clemson problem. That's the ceiling that they're trying to get over. And if they can show up to Atlanta and really hang with Alabama as much as they possibly can, that gives them some hope. Do they have to win this game in order to have a special season? They don't. If they do, then, oh my God, then we're having a completely different conversation. But right. Can they keep it interesting? We shall see. I mean, Alabama loses so much from last year, but they've got 5-star talent just ready to step up and replace them. So, yeah, 18.5 seems about right, until Miami can show me that they're back. I mean, and that's still remains to be seen, I guess.
That's right.
But, what's the movement been on that line since it opened?
Almost nothing. It opened at 19. It's down to 18.5. I got no idea what that is or what that could be. And once again, I don't know when the action moved. And it's neither here nor there. By the way, I don't think it matters.
I don't see a lot of money. I don't see a lot of money coming in on the Hurricanes.
No, I don't either. I think this is going to be one of those. If you want to bet Miami, I would wait until close to game time because I do think that this week all the public action is going to come in on Miami. None of the public has really started getting their early bets in. I think that'll happen this week. I could be wrong about that, by the way. I'll tell you one thing. If Miami makes a showing here, if Miami can pull off a miracle, I'm going to tell you what. Go back all the way to the very first video you and I did this year. One of the first. I don't know exactly which one it was. De'Aaron King will be the front runner after week 1 for the Heisman Trophy if Miami pulls off something special. Yeah. Because he's going to have a hell of a football game, maybe the greatest game of his life, to win this game. So that's something to be looking forward to. If Miami gets it, that's the kind of game it's going to have to be. We'll move on. We'll move to a team that I like to take pot shots at all the time.
You and everyone else in this country right now.
Well, hey, everyone's jumping on board. Listen, I was making fun of Texas way back in the day. And listen, it's bit me in the butt several times, all right? They've been really good a lot, and that's happened. Texas is bringing in my guys from Cajun country, the Raging Cajuns, Louisiana, to open the season. This line opened up at 16.5. I want to get the number right. It is down to 9. I would have loved to have found this game at 16.5.
Sure.
I would have absolutely loved that. Go ask the boys from Iowa State what it's like to bring Louisiana in for a season opening game. Yeah, that's how I want to say that word. Season opening game. Go ask them how that works out. Because Billy Napier he's not a good coach. He's a hell of a football coach.
Honestly,
right?
I'm surprised he's still there. I thought for sure he was going to get gobbled up by a bigger school this past offseason.
I think he's had offers, and I think he's turned them down. Now, we don't know that for certain, but we know that he's been talked to for several big jobs. I think he's waiting on the right job to come open. I don't know what that is, and I don't know what it looks like. But I'm going to tell you this: he's not a good coach. He's a real good coach, and when you look at the talent gap should be massive. And it is massive, by the way. The stars on the back, the ratings of the players that are supposed to be playing in this game, the guys on Texas's team are superior than the guys that play for Louisiana. They're just better than them. But ask me if I think that matters, because I do not. I think Billy Napier is going to have these 2 and 3 stars from Louisiana more ready to play than the guys from Texas. And if Texas can win this game and Texas covers, that's great. That means the better team won, okay? But if they don't, just understand and know coaching matters. And Billy Napier and consistency, and he has been there for a while, and those guys know his system, and they know what's expected of them. It will not shock me if Sark opens his career in Texas with a loss to a small G5 school.
And we've been talking about home field advantage and kind of what part that plays in some of these lines and what part it's going to play in these games. Texas does not have the same sort of home field advantage that you would expect. I mean,
that's kind of a weird thing.
It's not College Station.
It's not like going to Norman. It's not like going to College Station. It's not going to Tuscaloosa.
It's not an imposing place to play.
It's too friendly of a city.
Yeah.
Austin's just too nice of a place, right?
Oh, I love Austin. I spent a good amount of time in Austin. That's a fantastic place. But yeah, it's not hard to go. Like, you're not getting the fear of God by going in to play at Texas. Sure, it's a big stadium and they can put a lot of people in there. But the people who are going in there aren't making a ton of noise. It's not the biggest home field advantage. So, I think Louisiana and Billy Napier, they gotten the mantle of a legend killer, by going to Iowa State last year and really making some noise. And they would love to go into Texas, especially with like the rest of the country already coming down. Like, Texas has got everyone's crosshairs on their back. I mean, talk about, like, they are the ones who are being blamed for the breakup of the Big 12, the move to the SEC. Oklahoma's getting off scot-free on this, which is really, really interesting because everyone loves to hate on Texas.
That's right. That's why I hate him.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I do it. Because listen, for no other reason than I think it's fun.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
I just think it's fun. Sorry. I know. And listen, it's only fun because Texas guys give it to me back, and it's okay. When it's light and it's playful, it's fine. They say some really mean, hurtful things. That hurts my feelings, but that's okay. Neither here nor there. I talk about a team that has given me some of the greatest times of my life. It also caused me a little bit of heartache and stress, but that's what relationships are about, okay? My relationship with the state school of Louisiana State University, is one that has been good. It's been better than it has lately, but I love this place. I can't see them without biases. I also am prone to see their flaws more than just all of the good things, because I'm worried about what is everybody else seeing and what is my school doing wrong. they get to go out to La La Land. They get to go out to Los Angeles, and we've already seen UCLA put a whooping on Hawaii. Now, let's not get it wrong. LSU ain't Hawaii.
No.
Okay? We're coming in there, and our stars are going to be more than their stars. The talent for LSU ain't going to be the same as Hawaii, and it ain't even really going to be the same as UCLA. LSU should be a prohibitive, massive favorite.
And yet it's only 4 points.
The bookmakers have this line as 4, and that tells me they know something I don't. And, Sammy, that scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, I mean, this is real interesting. I mean, LSU, they are practicing and staying this entire week in Houston. So, they're...
I think we're... Are we in Houston? I think we're...
I saw Houston.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tulane went to Birmingham.
Right.
We went to Houston. That's right.
So, yeah, LSU went to Houston. They're going to be in Houston before going out to Los Angeles. Will that factor into the preparation? We talked about earlier with Tulane, will their heads be 100% in it? I think, Coach O will have them ready to go. What's interesting is, and with this line is 4, I'm interested to see because we did see UCLA. We saw them, like you said, put a hurting on Hawaii. I'm interested to see if that action changes, if we're going to see a little bit more volatility in the line this week. Because, we now have data to go on. We've seen these guys play. We still don't quite know what we're going to see from LSU, and, we'll see on Saturday. But I'll be interested to see, if the public comes in and overreacts to this stomping of Hawaii, who may not quite be as good as I think we might have been giving them credit for this season. The overreaction possibilities are definitely there. So I'll be interested to see where the line goes this week.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm invested in this one. And I'm very curious to see how good this UCLA team is and how good my Tigers are. Listen, don't think that I didn't forget last year showing up and Mississippi State just rolling into Baton Rouge and hanging like 80 on them. All right, those rooms are there. And if there's a school and there's a coach that's capable of doing that, it's Chip Kelly. All right, that wouldn't surprise me. It would devastate me emotionally. I would not be good. Let's get off of that. Let's get on another game. Let's go on the biggest game of the weekend.
Absolutely.
This is the biggest game Saturday. It's why I left it for the end. It's also the biggest game of the whole damn weekend, and it could be the biggest game of the year. And we get it week 1. We're getting the Georgia Bulldogs, Kirby Smart. This is supposed to be the best team Kirby has had since he's been there. And let's remember, he had like a 3-touchdown lead against Alabama in a national championship game, like his first season there. Okay, this team's supposed to be better than that. This is Clemson. This is Clemson reloading, retooling. DJ Uyunglele?
I think I've heard it as Uyunglele, but that's a tough one. DJU.
I'm gonna do
DJU.
I'm gonna do the Lele because I like the way it sounds.
There you go.
When you sing it. That might be the Italian in me that might sound same thing. Giannini, Lele. Anyway, neither here nor there. I mean no offense by it if I'm saying it wrong because I'm just a moron from Mississippi. Clemson is -3 in this game. This game is going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina. Let me get back on track. Charlotte, North Carolina. Both of these teams are built to win the championship, not in a year or two. This year, right now, these are two of the best teams. The coaches on this roster could all be head coaches in the next year or two if they wanted jobs. I'm trying to think of how we got a line of -3 for Clemson when I think these are two evenly matched teams. And Sam, I know this is going to draw the ire of Georgia fans. I think the -3 is Kirby Smart. And I think because our history with Kirby is when he goes in these big games against really good, well-coached football teams, he is the problem. Not his players. It's not execution. It is his in-game coaching and lack of adjustments. And I think the bookmakers subtract 3 points from him for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really interesting point. I mean, Clemson is phenomenal. I think Georgia's phenomenal.
Yes.
it is not unreasonable to think that these two teams are going to see each other again in January. That is absolutely on the table. Either team loses this game, it's not the end of the world for either one. They're both going to go on and have amazing seasons, regardless of who wins or loses this game. So, I think you get Clemson -3, because Clemson was in the playoff last year. Trevor Lawrence is gone. DJU is coming in, and he doesn't have the same kind of track record as JT Daniels does at Georgia. So Georgia comes in with a slightly more experienced quarterback, but there's 5-star talent up and down both of these rosters. So this game is going to be amazing, and all eyes are going to be on it. It's easily the pinnacle game of the week.
Yes, sir. And this will be the biggest game we talk about when we do the big game show. We'll break it down.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get into all the numbers. We'll get into all the nuts and bolts. I think the most important man on the field is every game every game Clemson plays, and it's Brett Venables. I think he's one of the top 3 best coaches in football, and he's a coordinator.
Yeah. Could have had a head coaching job anytime he's wanted, and he just hasn't wanted.
Oh, he just doesn't want it. I'll tell you this. I wished LSU had the same thing with Dave Aranda. Dave Aranda dreamed of being a head football coach. We had this situation, and he wanted to be a head coach. And I can't fault the guy for it. I can't blame him for wanting to try your hand to run the whole program. I know me. I would not want it. I don't want the media rights. I don't want all of the expectation. I just want to recruit my guys, coach my guys, be with my guys, and that's it. And I want somebody else to deal with the TV. The first time a booster comes up to me, I want to knock the hell out of him. All right? I don't want to be shaking hands and kissing babies and hoping to steal your extra emergency 20. I don't want to do that. And that's what Brett wants. Brett's just a football guy. I don't like Clemson, but it's hard to not respect that man. And what that program has done and what they've become since Dabo, listen, I'm going to take shots at Dabo. You notice, these teams that take shots at, I always punch up, Sam. I don't punch down. I don't like it. I don't like the way it looks. These schools they're bullies. But they've earned that. They're better than everybody else all the time.
And what's interesting is, you talk about Kirby not being able to win the big game.
Yeah.
Several years back, you said the exact same thing about Dabo and Clemson. I mean,
that's exactly
Dabo
right.
had a big game problem until he didn't.
And now, that -3 for Kirby could all change this year. He wins this game. He wins the cocktail party. He doesn't foul up some stupid game against South Carolina or Kentucky like he always does. And then maybe at the end of the year we say, oh, this is the new Kirby. And maybe he's getting out of his way. And if he can get a win against a Saban and a Dabo in 1 year, and maybe – I don't even know that he has to win the national championship. I just think he has to finally stop fouling up the big games that everybody's trying to see. Listen, so you beat up on Notre Dame. Everybody who's been that level good has beat the hell out of Notre Dame. You don't get to hang your hat on that anymore. It's not something for you to advertise that everybody's good at. We're all good at doing that when we're really good. We need you to beat Bama. We need you to beat Clemson. We need you to consistently continue to beat Florida and stop losing to the schmucks of the East of the SEC. That's it. That's all. If he does that, he can become the new Dabo, because Dabo doesn't do that. Dabo only loses to Alabama or Ohio State. That's it. That's the list. Last year he lost 1 game to Notre Dame, which was one of the greatest games of my life to ever watch. But that's it. We got 2 more games. That's all for Saturday. That's the slate. It's almost too much to say that Saturday, that slate of games, that Thursday, that Friday, and then the feast that we get on Saturday. And now I got to wake up Sunday. Sunday, I think this game is important. I think this game is special, and I think it's a great thing this game is being played in Tallahassee. I think it's great that these 2 teams are playing, and I like that it's being played on Sunday. Sunday is the Lord's Day, all right? And you've got Notre Dame, football Jesus, going to Tallahassee, and I believe I believe that one Bobby Bowden will be up in the heavens. He was a very man of faith, strong man of faith, looking down on his football team on Sunday. And he's going to watch Mike Norvell lead out this Florida State Seminole team. Now, I have no idea what this Florida State team is going to look like, okay? I can't pretend that I know. I don't have an answer, okay? I think they're going to be substantially better than they were last year.
It'd be hard not to be. I mean, the last year was just abject disappointment.
That's a pretty low bar to get over. I have a lot more expectations. Notre Dame, what are we getting from them? I don't know. We got a new quarterback. Does anybody know about this quarterback? Yeah, he played at Wisconsin. He's a transfer. If you think you can watch Wisconsin film and you know anything about what Jack Cohn's going to look like, I think you're wrong, because the coaches at Wisconsin have no idea what they're doing on offense compared to Brian Kelly. I really believe that. That's not a knock on Wisconsin. I think Brian Kelly is one of the top 2 or 3 minds in offensive football for the college game. I really do. I like this man. I respect his game. I like the way he coaches. Is Notre Dame at a point where they can just reload? Can they just lose a bunch of guys to the NFL like they have been and just roll new dudes out there? This is the biggest, I have no idea what this game is going to look like, than any game we're going to see this weekend. We get it all to ourselves on Sunday.
Yeah, this is going to be fascinating. I've seen Jack Cohn play several times. I'm not in love with his game. Could he go to Notre Dame and
I don't think he's going to look like that.
Yeah,
I might be wrong.
I don't know. We will see. Florida State. I don't know how much stock to take in last season. Just so weird. Just an absolute disappointment for them. They're gonna be playing for Bobby. 100%. Is that enough to get over the 7.5? I don't know. We will see.
Yeah, this is a weird game, and it's a strange line. When I saw 7.5, I thought, I don't know what I'm trying to do here, and I don't know what I really think yet, but it's early in the week. We got one more game to hit, then we're going to get out of here, guys. This video is going a little longer than it should have. I apologize for that. That's on me. I rambled too much. Louisville Cardinals coming to right down the road from me. If you drive like 30 minutes south of my house, you're going to hit Oxford, Mississippi. Louisville's coming to Oxford. The Lane train is cooking. This line opened at -7 for Ole Miss. This line is now 9.5. This will be the last football game for a college football weekend for week 1. And the whole country is going to be watching Lane Kiffin in Oxford. I'm so excited, but I'm learning to temper my expectations, because I have seen Ole Miss do things that people around here refer to the school as a verb by Ole Missing it up. I've watched it happen for far too long. I kind of hope that Lane is changing those ways. I don't know what to think about Louisville. I think Satterfield is a hell of a football coach. I felt like last year Satterfield was trying to get a job at 2 or 3 other schools. I don't know how much he wants to be in Louisville. I know that Louisville's been in like 5 different federal investigations in 3 years or something.
It's been nuts. Just crazy times.
At some point in time, you just say, maybe this isn't the right place for me. But he's there now, and he's got kids that he's responsible for right now. And Satterfield's a really good coach. Is he going to make this game? What are we going to get in Oxford for the final game of the season, for the week?
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting. I do not know what to make of Louisville. It's just a mystery to me. But one thing I do know is that I have not liked Lane Kiffin for a long, long time, and that goes back to his time with the Raiders. I grew up in Denver. I'm a Broncos fan, so I hate everything Raiders. And that kind of stink has stayed with Kiffin pretty much his entire career. But he's really turned around, and I'm now on the Lane train. And this is going to be interesting. I mean, I'm excited for this game. The fact that it's gone up as much as it has, I think should tell you a lot. The fact that, everyone is in on Ole Miss here. I could see this line moving up, maybe even another point or two before next Monday.
Maybe I could. I'm with you on that. I think, and I said this about Alabama, I'll say it about this team. I think this Ole Miss team is going to be the big public play. I think it's the last game of the weekend. I think if you really want to take Louisville, I think you wait until close to Monday to take them, because I think the whole public is coming in on Lane. I really do. Now, is that the right move? I don't know, but I'm going to be watching it. I'm going to be watching every second of it. I love this team. Guys, thank you so much. This is the opening line show. It's not going to look like this anymore unless the game is a huge embarrassing failure, which is 100% my fault. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the season, Sam. Later this week, we're going to break down the 5 biggest games. We're going to give you our gambling picks officially for week 1. And join us finally. Last time you get to see us for the week is on Saturday mornings. And we'll be live coming to you right before the games kick off. And we just want to say thank you. I appreciate you watching the show. Like, subscribe. SBR Picks. NCAAF is how you can find us in the search bar. Go to SBR.com. For SBR, I am Christopher Giannini.
I'm Sam Walter. Thanks so much, guys.
And we will see you next time.